High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
I want to find out what is really going on in terms of, you'll find out, with President Donald Trump and the Iranian war. President Trump refusing to say exactly what will happen if negotiations fail, telling reporters, you'll find out. From a strategic perspective, I need to understand what message is he trying to send to Tehran deliberately by keeping his next moves ambiguous. Joining us this morning is Professor Kobi Michael, Senior Researcher at INSS and Misgov Institute. A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you are well.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes, everything is okay, or almost everything.
Almost. Well, as long as the big things are. Let's talk about Donald Trump. When I saw this, you'll find out, I thought to myself, maybe he's had a lot of pushback from his very dramatic statements, we'll wipe you off the face of the earth, but then, okay, we've been asked not to. So I wondered if there's a bit of that going on. What do you think?
It looks that any trial to deepen our understanding with regard to President Trump and his, I would say, way of thinking is a lost effort. I think that unless there is a sort of a deception that the entire humanity has not seen since ever, what we are witnessing is just an American fiasco, a strategic failure, a strategic blindness, and even strategic stupidity. I don't think that the Iranians really take seriously President Trump and his declarations and tweets. I don't think that the region takes President Trump seriously, and I'm not sure that the international community takes President Trump seriously, and even the Americans. And I think that at the end of the day, the current outcome of President Trump's strategic behavior is that the Iranians are under the perception of having the upper hand. They behave, I would say, as if they are under a sort of hubris, and they continue controlling the Strait of Hormuz in this way or another, understanding that they hold a very significant, a very essential asset in their hands. Now they added the Houthis that block Bab el-Mandeb, another strategic asset. And they have the time and the patience to drag the U.S. to a sort of an attrition war, understanding that when it comes to attrition war, then states like Iran are much less vulnerable than a huge superpower like the U.S.
Given the amount of, the significant amount of U.S. activity, military activity over Iran night after night for weeks, surely Iran has been tremendously weakened. How is it that they're still able to have this hubris or approach?
Because we are talking about a very radical and extreme regime, ideological regime, religious regime that doesn't really care about its own people. And we are talking about a nation of something like 95 million people, okay? But they don't really care about them. They care about themselves and about the survival of this regime. And they have enough resources in order to keep this regime surviving. They don't hesitate to butcher and to murder their own people in order to prevent any trial of protest or uprising or something like that. And we are talking about a huge country from the geographical point of view. You know, the size of Iran is like the size of entire West Europe. It is a huge country, and I think that they also took some important lessons after Rising Lion operation in June 25, and they changed their command system, be it the political command system or the military command system, and they are very, I would say, resilient to military attacks, because it is very hard now to paralyze. Uh, one or two centers of gravity, and then to paralyze the system, the entire system, because
So
they
they've
have a lot
almost more fragmented it.
centers of gravity. Yes, but at the end of the day, Iran is in a very bad condition from the economic point of view and from the infrastructure point of view. They have no electricity, they have no fuel, they have no water. There is a very high inflation. The economic situation is very bad. The people really suffer there. But as I told you at the beginning, I mean, the regime, the regime itself doesn't really care about it, and it has enough resources in order to continue surviving. And therefore, if we want to weaken the regime to the degree that it will be toppled down by the Iranian people, or will not be capable to continue behaving like the way it behaves, and to threat the entire region, and to control a very significant and essential asset like the Strait of Hormuz, there is a need to do something which is different, something that President Trump is not willing to do yet, if at all. And therefore, we find ourselves in a sort of an attrition war.
So that's what I was trying to figure out, is something very different is needed. The question is, what is that? Is it perhaps the people of Iran themselves?
The people of Iran will have, I would say, very significant difficulties to do something that will accelerate the collapse of the regime without an outside help. Okay, and the outside help is not by providing them weapon or ammunition. It is by weakening the regime in a very severe manner. And in order to weaken the regime, you have to paralyze simultaneously many centers of gravity that it holds. I think that you have to paralyze Tehran as a functioning capital of Iran, and it is not so easy. But on the other hand, it is not so complicated. Okay, I mean, you can shut down Tehran in 24 hours, if not less than that, by disconnecting Tehran from Iran, by stopping the energy supply, the water supply, okay, and by forcing all the people, or most of the people, to leave Iran, and by disabling Tehran to continue functioning as an effective capital of Iran. And this is something that will signal to the people of Iran that maybe this is the time to ride on the wave and to do what is needed in order to topple down the regime. But the idea is that, at least from the strategic point of view, that you have to do many things simultaneously, not only isolating Tehran, for an example, as I explained, but isolating Tehran and then hitting their energy facilities, mainly in South Iran, and maybe even you will have to use to do ground operation, to be with boots on the ground in some places which are very crucial. And in order to do that, you have to cross the Rubicon in the sense that you have to make this. I mean the Americans, first of all. You have to make the strategic decision about the resumption of the military campaign, but this time not to do what has done before, as I mean, to do something else, something new. And I'm not sure that President Trump is there.
Yeah, absolutely problematic. It is where we do need to leave it. Give me your thoughts, 0618951019. Professor Kobi Michael, thank you for that. He's senior researcher at the INSS and Misgov Institutes.